So imagine you get into a lift and someone else who you really wanted to meet also gets in the same lift. Now, what would you say to them? How would you introduce yourself? And more importantly, how would you make connection with them? And all this before they get off the lift. Remember, it's not a very long time. So this is where elevator pitch comes in. And in this video, I will talk about what elevator pitch is, how it works, and also will give you a step-by-step instruction on how to create one as an international student with no experience at all. So without wasting much time, let's get into the video. So first thing first, what is elevator pitch? Now, it is a short, sharp introduction about yourself to someone. Now, this someone could be a prospective employer, a recruiter, a business connection, or a partner you would like to collaborate with. So the time frame for this elevator pitch is usually anywhere from 30 seconds to 60 seconds, preferably as short as possible, because in the earlier scenario where I talk about getting into the same lift with someone who we really wanted to meet, imagine that situation again and you only have few seconds to explain about yourself to this person. And this is where we use elevator pitch, a short, sharp introduction about yourself. And now you might wonder, what's the purpose of this elevator pitch? As a student, it can be used to introduce yourself. Also, if you want to get some message across to someone, especially if you're looking for some work, and importantly, to also build a connection with someone else. Now, in terms of when to use this elevator pitch, here are the few places you might use it. The first one is networking event. So when you're going for a networking event, you're meeting new people, it's great idea to have your elevator pitch ready so that you can introduce to these random people or complete strangers who you might like to build a relationship with. The second place you can use your elevator pitch is during the job interviews. So if you are going for a job interview, you need to introduce yourself. Using elevator pitch can be a great way to explain about yourself. Then you can also use this during the career fairs or exhibitions. So many people go out to attend these sort of seminars, exhibition, conferences. It can be a great place to introduce yourself using elevator pitch. And last but not the least, online. So if you are sending a message online, especially let's say on a platform like LinkedIn, then you can use your elevator pitch for that message as well. Some people also use elevator pitch in their LinkedIn profiles as well. Now let's get into the most important part of this video, which is how to create an elevator pitch. Especially if you are an international student with no work experience. We're going to follow a formula for developing this elevator pitch, which is IUEC. I'll explain them as we go along. So there are 4 steps involved. I is the first one, then U, then E, then C. Let's go through each step now. So step 1 is introduction. So in introduction, you start with your name, where you come from, what are you studying, and where are you studying. So your introduction could go something like this. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Sam Sharma, an international student from India studying Masters of Accounting at Central Queensland University. As you saw, I explained about myself in one sentence, about what I'm doing, where I am from, and a little bit about myself. Now we are moving towards step 2, which is USP. Now USP stands for unique selling proposition, or some people call it unique selling point. So what is unique about yourself, or what is different, or what are your strengths? It could be skills or knowledge that you have acquired during the course that you are studying. So let's put it into the words, and it could look something like this. Through this course, I managed to build a strong foundation in Xero accounting software and its functionality. So here I'm talking about that I've learned the basics of Xero accounting software. Now let's move on to the step number 3, which is talking about your experience and your interests. Now we have been talking about that this elevator pitch is certainly for students who have no work experience. But obviously if you have some work experience, or if you have done some internships or some volunteer work, then it's good to mention in this point. And you'll also need to mention about you have interest in the field that you are studying in as well. So how to do that? Let's have a look. I recently completed a mock project on how to lodge business tax returns in Australia. And that got me really interested to learn more about this industry. So as you saw in this example, I talked about experience on project that I've worked in my university, and also showed my interest in the relevant field that I'm studying in. Now the step 4 is the last step, which is CTA, also known as call to action. This is where you need to bring your requests that you need to ask to the other person. So you need to have this clear call to action on what you expect from this quick elevator pitch. It could be any of these things, such as asking for advice or mentorship, asking for their email address, asking for their LinkedIn account, asking for a catch-up for a coffee, or asking for an entry-level job role. Now, how it could look like? It could look like something like this. What advice would you have for someone like me who is looking to get into the accounting industry? As you saw, I was asking for advice, and this is one of my preferred way of approaching person, because instead of asking for jobs and becoming sort of like a burden on them, you ask for an advice. Like if they have some sort of an advice for you, especially if you want to get into the industry. It's a more subtle way of approaching a person. Now let's put this all together and give a complete elevator pitch, including all the 4 parts that we have discussed so far, which is IUEC: Introduction, USP, Experience, and Call to Action. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Sam Sharma, an international student from India studying Masters of Accounting at Central Queensland University. Through my course, I have built a strong foundation in Xero and also have recently completed a project on lodging a business tax returns in Australia, which really sparked my interest in this industry. Do you have any advice for someone like me who is looking to get into the accounting field? So that was a quick example of how you can create your elevator pitch. Now here are some other handy tips before we end this video. The first one is to customize your elevator pitch. You don't have to use the same elevator pitch everywhere. It's important to understand the context of this elevator pitch as well. So you need to understand what situation you are in and then customize it accordingly. Of course, if you're going for a job interview versus if you're meeting someone casually, they're all different scenarios. So no one elevator pitch will fit all purposes. It's important for you to customize it according to the scenario or the context. The second thing is keep it short and sweet, also known as KISS. It's a good idea not to use too many technical words or jargons in your elevator pitch, especially if those words or jargons may confuse them. You don't want to make other person look like a fool. And also, don't make it too long and boring. The next tip is practice, practice, and practice. You will only get better with your elevator pitch by practicing it a lot. You can do this practice with a friend or in front of a mirror. The simple mantra is the more you practice, the better it gets. The next tip is pay attention to your body language. So make sure to use your hand gestures, smile, and make a good eye contact. Last but not the least, don't be discouraged, especially if a person declines your call to action. So imagine if you were giving this elevator pitch and after that you ask for an advice or maybe their LinkedIn contact or their email address, and if that person declined to give it to you, that's okay. It happens. So in that case, you can thank them for their time and suggest that you might get in touch with them in the future. No hard feelings there, as the person may not be ready to give their contact details or even their LinkedIn account details. Now that was all regarding the elevator pitch. I hope you find this information useful. If you do, please make sure to share it with your friends as well, as it helps us to reach more people. Now some of the students don't know how to do networking effectively as well. And for that, we have got this video here where I explain about how to get professional jobs by doing networking in Australia in the right way. So click that video over there and I'll see you there.